What were you doing?
Hey, look who's here! Sis, what a surprise!
Hey, I didn't expect to see you here. Please join me.
How was your day, Julia?
Oh, I had an awful day. It seemed to be such a lovely day at the beginning. I was sitting on the balcony, drinking a cup of coffee. The sun was shining, someone was playing a violin in the street, and I was enjoying a beautiful afternoon. I was feeling hungry, so I decided to make spaghetti. But I realized that I didn't have any tomato sauce. So I went to the grocery store to buy some. After buying a few items, I finally found the tomato sauce. I was reading the label when the jar just slipped out of my hands and fell down. There was glass and red sauce all over the floor and splattered all over my shoes. I looked around and noticed that everyone was staring at me. People were smiling and whispering to each other. Soon I noticed that I was leaving a trail of red footprints through the store. I found a grocery store worker and let him know what I had just done. I offered to help clean it up, but he declined. I was so embarrassed that I wasn't even looking where I was going. And I knocked over a display of chips. I was just standing there in shock. A manager was walking by me that very moment and noticed the mess I had made. I was expecting her to be angry, but she wasn't. She said they would take care of everything. She was smiling. Maybe she was thinking about how clumsy I was.
Oh, poor you, sis! I'm sorry you had to go through this. It was just a bad day.
And there's more. While I was waiting to pay the checkout, I realized I forgot my wallet home. I was mortified.
Oh no. So what did you do?
I apologized and left all my shopping there.
Maybe you're too tired and stressed out. You should take a few days off from work and get some rest.
Yeah, you're right. You know, I called you yesterday at about 8 p.m., but you didn't answer. What were you doing?
You'll never guess what happened yesterday evening. I was sitting in the living room watching TV when I suddenly felt a strong smell of smoke. It was coming from the corridor outside our apartment. I opened the door and saw smoke at the end of the corridor. Mrs. Brown lives there. I grabbed the fire extinguisher and ran towards her apartment. I opened the door and there was a big fire. The flames were spreading quickly. I put out the fire as fast as I could. Then I saw Mrs. Brown in the living room. She was lying down on the floor. She was screaming for help.
Help! Help!
She was bleeding. I called the ambulance right away.
Oh, poor Mrs. Brown. Is she okay now?
Yes, luckily she's fine.
But what happened?
It seems that the fire was started by some candles that were burning in the living room. Mrs. Brown was dozing off when the fire started. She woke up, and while she was trying to put out the fire, she fell down and broke her arm.
She's really lucky to be alive thanks to you. You're a real hero. where were you, Isabella, when all that happened? What were you doing?
I was taking a shower, so I didn't notice anything. But when I came out of the bathroom, I felt the smell of smoke and knew something was going on. And I soon found out everything.
I'm glad things turned out fine in the end. I'm so happy to spend such a wonderful evening with my brother and my sister-in-law. Thanks for watching! If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye!
Welcome to English Grammar Spot. This tutorial is about the past continuous. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to form a past continuous and when to use a past continuous. But before we get started, it's good to know how to conjugate the verb to be in its past tense. For the singular forms, I was, you were, he was, she was, it was. And for the plural forms, we were, you were, they were. It's also good to know that when I say a vowel, I mean an A, an E, an I, an O, or a U. The consonants are all the other letters in the alphabet. Now let's get started. Take a look at these sentences. I was talking on the phone and we were cooking dinner. Both these sentences are in the past continuous tense. How to form a past continuous? We use the past tense of the verb to be, so either was or were, the base form of the verb and ing. I was working late. You were talking too fast. He was watching television. She was walking to school. It was raining. And for the plural forms, we do the same. We were singing a song. You were doing your homework. They were looking for a hotel. Now we need to pay extra attention to verbs that end in an E, such as take, make, and close. These verbs drop their E. For example, I was taking the bus to school. He was making dinner, and they were closing the window. Please note that these verbs no longer have their E. We also need to pay attention to verbs that have one syllable, end in a consonant, and are preceded by a vowel, because they double this final consonant. These verbs are verbs such as sit, get, and run. Take a look at the examples. I was sitting outside. You were running fast. It was getting late. We were letting ourselves go. They were swimming in the river. Let's have a look at the past continuous in questions. Again, we use the past simple form of the verb to be, was or were, the base form of the verb and ing. Was I getting close? Were you running late? Was he taking a bus? Was she playing tennis? Was it snowing? And for the plural forms, we do the same. Were we going in the right direction? Were you arriving by ferry? Were they eating their lunch? Now let's have a look at the past continuous in negations. Again, we use the past simple form of the verb to be, so either was or were, but we add not to it, contracting it into wasn't or weren't, the base form of the verb and ing. For example, I wasn't waiting for you. You weren't looking for me. He wasn't sleeping late. She wasn't talking on the phone, and it wasn't freezing. For the plural forms, we weren't putting up a tent, you weren't speaking at the same time, and they weren't cutting paper. Now let's have a look at when to use a past continuous. First, we use the past continuous for a temporary activity in the past. It started in the past, and it was finished in the past. I was watching television at that moment. It was raining last night. They were swimming in the river yesterday. We want to emphasize that it was lasting for some time. We also use the past continuous for a temporary activity in the past, interrupted by a short action. this short action is usually expressed by the past simple. I was watching television when he called. It was raining when the car broke down. They were swimming when they saw a crocodile. We also use a past continuous for something that was planned before a certain time in the future. For example, I was flying to Dubai, but his meeting was cancelled. Weren't you meeting her at the airport yesterday? They were going to that concert, but her car broke down. I thank you for your attention. For regular updates, please subscribe to youtube.com/EnglishGrammarSpot or go to www.englishgrammarspot.com.